Hey friends, it's Megan Elizabeth from Above Ruby Studio and lifeaboverubies.com. Thank you so much for joining me today for another PicMonkey creative workshop. I'm really excited to be diving in and showing you guys a little bit about PicMonkey and how it can be used to further both your business life and a little bit of fun and balance in the creative things that you love. So it's really beneficial for bloggers, it's beneficial for those in direct sales, it's beneficial for those who just want to enhance their photos and their memory keeping, and it's a really fun user-friendly tool that I enjoy so very much. I feel like it's a lot more intuitive than, let's say, a Photoshop experience, but you have a lot of benefits and features that you're able to use for a multitude of purposes and functions. And it's one of the main tools that I use for my daily social media posts, for the quick little graphics and things that I do. I still have a graphics designer that I work with on occasion for bigger projects and things, but I do 9 out of 10 things personally myself, just because I find it easier and I have the fonts and the functionality and the things that I want to do. Katina does some work for it from time to time. It just sort of depends. But anyway, we want to dive into PicMonkey today. I'm not going to keep rambling on. Let's take a look. All right, so you can see here we have editing, touch-up, design, and collage. And we're going to do some photo editing today. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what all is available, and we'll dive into design and collage in the next 2 weeks. So we're going to do a quick little edit. For my social media purposes and marketing purposes and things that I do for Life Above Rubies or Above Ruby Studio, I tend to take a lot of pictures and then kind of pick from what I want to create. And I will use a multitude of pictures, multiple pictures, not a multitude, but multiple pictures to get a couple different results. Because one of the things that is really important to note and to realize is that on social media, different platforms like different size photos. And PicMonkey is actually really smart in helping you figure that out. But additionally, we're going to give you a little bit of a cheat sheet for the rubies over at lifeaboverubies.com. If you look for the post on this video, there's some bonus materials and resources for you so that you can quickly reference what size you need for what you're posting on, which is really helpful. So when you click on edit and you open a picture from your computer or your phone or wherever it may be, it's going to bring up your basic edit screen. And you can do a simple auto adjust and boom, there it is. Now, I'm not a huge fan of just doing an auto adjust. I don't feel like it quite gives me the look that I want to go for, so I'm going to cancel that. I'm not going to do an auto adjust. I do want to do some cropping, and like I said, PicMonkey is really helpful with this, okay? Especially when you're just learning and just getting started and you want to quickly go. There's a lot of options here above and beyond just the original proportions, square, or those basic photo sizes. You're actually able to do avatar sizes. It's very smart with your Facebook cover art. It's really quick to give you Pinterest pin sizes. I love this one. This is a great function. It gives you the actual size of a Pinterest pin that's ideal. Desktop view, iPhone, you know, all of these different options are available to you, and that's really beneficial, especially as a royal PicMonkey member or subscriber or whatever they call you. I'm a fan. I am a royal person, and I have a link for you if you're interested in becoming that. But let's just say we want to do a square image today for the purpose of this. I want to use it for Instagram. All right, so I'm just going to kind of select about where I want it to be and apply that. Now, we still don't have quite the color balance that I want. I'm not really going to worry about the canvas color because that's going to just drown out the picture. Of course, I could select that and fade out the transparency or do different things like that, but that's not even beneficial. In this instance, it's just going to drown out the picture. We could flip it, we could rotate it, we could make it go upside down and sideways and every which way we want it to go. We can also angle it slightly. So let's just say we want the head tilting just a little bit further. We're able to do that relatively easy and quickly here in PicMonkey, all right? So I'm just going to tilt it a little bit. We can do an auto adjust for the exposure, which is actually, I like the auto adjust for the exposure a lot better than I did for the color. But we can go in here and play with things by ourselves too. The brightness, we can undo it so you don't have to go with it. You can just hit cancel. I'm just going to go with the basic auto adjust though today. We can adjust the colors. We can choose the color that we want it to kind of balance to, whether we want it to be more gray or white or whatever the case may be. We're not going to worry about that because I'm not too worried about the color. Again, the sharpness or the clarity, and that's something that you can play with if you feel like it clears up the picture, it makes it more crisp, or if it actually can pixelize it a little bit more depending on what you're doing. So you can play with that. And again, the resizing. So if you know the size that you need your image to be for whatever social media platform or the blog, if you're using it for a header on your blog or a sidebar item or a widget or a preview photo or a thumbnail, you have the options to play with it in here and do a couple different things. So you can do that as well with the resizing, which I do many times, especially with logo creation and work like that. All right, so those are some basic edits. That's this top little guy here. Then we can go a little bit deeper with effects. These are kind of like your filters that you play with in Instagram. So you can see it kind of blurs things out. Again, you have control with these a lot more than you do some other programs that are out there where you can really play and slide with them just to give the look that you really, really would want. Now, I'm not really a fan of using these for most of my photos, but there may be a time where if I want the background to be really soft and subtle, I'll use the soften, and we can like really increase the softness factor or really, you know, do a lot of different things with that. You can do like a vignette by darkening the edges. You can even choose what color you want the vignette to be. So if you're really into a certain color or it goes with your brand, you can make that happen here. All right, there's frosty edges. Again, you can do the same kind of thing. There are, whoops, scrolling too fast. There are different other effects, you know, silver screen and sepia and, you know, all these fun things. Now, many of these are only for Royal subscribers and Royal customers. So you can get different looks here, making something appear tiny or bigger. You can kind of do different things with that. So I could do, say, like a more focus on the card and make the face fade out in the background to really highlight that focal point. Okay, it tells you more about what that is. So you can kind of pick that focal size of where you want things to be. It doesn't work for this particular photo, but it's good to see that it's there. Time machine, Yestercolor, you know, I mean, there's just so many options of things that you can do and scroll through and play with. So I like to just give you a little overview, and I know we talked about this a little bit. Ombre colors, so popular and fun. So again, you can go in and really select your custom color, make a fun look where the thing kind of fades out into more of that ombre look. You can do tinted colors. You can make your own Warhol prints, so you can have a couple of different colors and fades and things happening for pictures. Bursts, you can even do kind of like the overlays, like the bokeh shapes and lights. Radiance. No, I do not want that to save. You can make radiance bursts or lens flares or sun glows all kind of happen in here as well. So again, it just really depends on what you're looking for, looking to create. Again, the focal soften or the focal glow here, or a focal black and white. Say you just want that one red diamond to be in color. Everything else can be in black and white. It's a fun effect. All right, so you can do a lot of these kind of things. You can do the focal zoom. There's a lot, all right, a lot. Oh, and here you can actually draw right on your picture as well. Let's get rid of that. We don't want to do that. All right, so lots of options here. I'm not going to try to overwhelm you with all of them, but I want you to kind of see what some of them do and be familiar with how some of them work as well. All right, and how I'm using it literally in what you see on the front end. I love doing behind the scenes videos. All right, so the other thing that I will do from time to time, and again, not to overwhelm you with how many options and features there are, but I want to show you how easy they are at the same time. Several times I will use this, especially in more of like my marketing materials. I don't do it for like my everyday selfies. I definitely don't do it when I do like a makeup tutorial or anything like that. But since this is going to be more of a specific marketing for an upcoming workshop that we're doing, I don't have my makeup on to the fullest. So I want to cover some of my blemishes, which is what this allows you to do. This is Touchup. Now, if I were to go back in, if I were to exit out here, which I will show you here, well, I don't want to show you, but if I were to, let's reopen PicMonkey. If I were to hit touch up, I can pick a new photo or the same photo, and it'll bring me directly to that menu. So touch up and edit, it just brings you to a different tab right on here. Just FYI, that's what it does. So this touch up screen really helps you fix some blemishes, very simple and easy. Remember, you have the control here to zoom in and zoom out on the little things that may bother you. So I have this little blemish right here. I'm just gonna make sure that my brush size surrounds it and click over it 1 or 2 times. And voila, no more blemishes. Goodbye, goodbye. And you want to be really careful when you do blemish control though, because it can end up looking really fake very quickly and photoshopped unnaturally, and you don't want that. But this is a very valuable tool, especially when it comes to editing family photos and things that preserve memories. And you can do some airbrushing. You know, if you're a little self-conscious about a few lines, you can fade them out a little bit. You can increase or decrease how much you see with this fade, or the size of the brush. If you just want to get in there like really tight, you can be specific and intentional about that as well. Wrinkle remover is a similar kind of thing. Again, you want to be really careful because it does blur it and you can look really fake really quick, and it's obvious that it's there if you're not careful. So play with those fades. If you have too much shine, let's say you don't have enough color on your cheeks and you want to add just a little bit more blush or a little bit more color, you're able to go in and do that just with a click, and it's done, okay? Or a spray tan, you need just a little bit more warmth. Now that's a little harsh, so can we reduce the intensity and just add a nice little glow there, or darken it, or what do we need to do to make it, you know, more natural and fitting to the picture that we want it to be, more flattering to us. All right, you can really have fun with this too. Sometimes because I have the artificial teeth, there are times that I'm really self-conscious about that, just being honest. So I'll go in and I will whiten out my teeth a little bit. Hello, I look like Ross from Friends. Does anybody remember that episode? No, I don't want to be Ross. So let's fade that out just a little bit so it's a little bit more of a natural white versus holy cow, what did you do to your teeth, Ross? Does anybody remember that? Is it just me? I'm a huge nerd with Friends. All right, so you can see there's just a little bit more of a white glow there, softens out some of that. And again, this is really zoomed in, so if you back it out, it can look a little bit more natural. Now there is tons of other functions and features. Say your eyebrows weren't dark enough that day and you just want to, you know, get that eyebrow color back in there. You can draw in your eyebrows. Yeah, you can do it all. You can do it all. Oh, here's a fun one. There is a red eye remover, and it's actually really smart in choosing whether it's, you can choose whether it's for a human or for one of your fur babies. So if you want to get the red eye and the glare out of your demon dog's eyes, you're able to do that through PicMonkey as well, which is really fun. There's some nip tuck, which you're able to do. I'm not a huge fan of it, but there is some weight loss, slimifying kind of things that can happen here. We can really make things look a little skinnier. Now this does, if you look at this does change the width and size of the image, but it's basically scrunching the image to make you look a little thinner. Not going to use that because I don't want to vary the pixels of the picture. Facial hair, hey, let's bring in a whole new thing to Movember, you guys. Look, it literally adds little hair strands of facial hair, and you can get really, really intense with this and add a full-on beard or a mustache that looks like facial hair. All right, it's a little bit too much for my liking. I'm just saying, I may like the mustaches, just not on myself. All right, we're gonna get rid of that. And it's just a simple, you can hit the cancel button before it applies, or just this back button. Okay, it'll undo your last action. You can add highlights to your hair in a gorgeous, beautiful way. If you have a little bit of those extra silver wisdom highlights, you can neutralize them out a little bit if you need to. I like to keep it pretty natural. I don't like to go over the top with photoshopping my images. It's very rare that I'll even go in and get rid of my blemishes, but for the purpose of what I'm doing here, we're gonna use it today. The clone words form sentences, right guys? The clone button is actually a really fun element that you're able to use and create with. Now let's say we have a playing card here that we actually don't want that to be seen, or we don't want this line in the background and we want to get rid of some of these things that are going on back here. Clone is going to help you be able to do that. So what you're able to do is select your source, the area where you want to see a change. So it kind of gives you this little target. You're going to click on that. And then what you're going to be able to do is go over top the area that you want to remove either the color of or the image of. This is really a very beneficial thing. I had a photo where it was a gorgeous picture, but there was a telephone wire like right through the middle of the sunset. And I was able to use Clone to blur out that telephone line. And you just have to be careful. Sometimes you have to like reselect your source a few times. But you can really get in there kind of tight and even. And you just want to be careful when you blend it out that, you know, it's actually blended the way you want it to be. Now I'm not actually going to do this because you can see it's literally taking the image that's up here and pulling it down here. So color variations and things can be messed with if you're not careful. But you get the idea, and it's a fun tool. You can just kind of select that area a couple times over and go in. I mean, you could get the whole thing, color it all in blue if you wanted to. I don't want to do that. You can go in and fine tune and erase things. Like if you didn't mean to get it that far down, it was a mistake, you can just fine tune erase without redoing your whole entire thing as well. So not going to apply that. We're going to keep it pretty simple. And that's our basic editing functions. Now, since I'm using this for marketing purposes and I'm using it for branding purposes, I want to add my little brand function here really quick. So what I'm going to do is actually add a little overlay shape. And I'm just going to do a basic little block. I could really go in and just take the color. Sometimes this is all I do, where I'll take a shape, I'll fade it out, blend it into the background a little bit, and place it on there. And it just sort of gives a little anchor for my text. I don't want it to be a full block because this is already a square picture. There's a big face in the middle. That's just not the way I want to go about it. So what I'm going to do is actually do just an outer edge block by selecting color 1. And then color 2, I'm actually going to make transparent. And this is going to give me just an image, a hollow rectangle here, or a hollow shape, which works for many of kind of the branding story that I'm telling, or the pictures that I use for a lot of my stories. Now, the other thing that I wanted to touch on, and I probably will talk a little bit more about, and I'm sure you have heard me talk about at lifeaboverubies.com, is text. Is your actual fonts that you use for branding, your branding story, and your logos, your designs, whatever the case may be. Actually, today alone, and I'm just going to take a break from this and talk to you for a minute here, if that's okay. Today alone, I was in King of Prussia. I was down at the mall, and we were driving around, and there was a big new store that went in with a new sign, and obviously, like, a significant investment went into this place. But instantly, I was able to pick out what that font was that they used as their logo for the store. Now, I'm not picking on this store, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with using default or popular fonts, but it was so recognizable that it almost looked unprofessional. It didn't stand out, it didn't stand apart, and as you go about creating and doing different things, you'd be surprised how many people are able to quickly pick up on fonts. If you work in the Cricut or with the Silhouette long enough, people start naming fonts just by their look and their feel. So I feel like fonts are a very important thing to your brand, and sometimes it's not thought about or talked about enough. And just for Above Ruby Studio alone, the Above Ruby Studio font, if you go to aboverubystudio.com, there are 4 separate fonts in that one logo. That was designed intentionally so that it wouldn't just say, oh yeah, instantly that's font so-and-so. No, there's 4 different fonts all interwoven into just the word rubies alone. Just the word rubies alone. And I feel like it's a really valuable thing. And it's great to mix up the sans serifs, the serifs, which are really good, clean, easy to read fonts, with something with a little bit more character, like a handwritten font. For example, we use PicMonkey a lot at Life Above Rubies and Above Ruby Studio, which is what I'll be using today. So let's dive back in. This is going to say, do you know? And I'm going to make this my signature colors. All right. I want to make it kind of large here. We're going to make it kind of fill up some of the box, and actually even overlay. If you look at some of our other branding images and things, we have a little bit of a overlap. I just kind of like that element. And I want to have a drop shadow because we don't have the box filled in, and it's just going to set that apart a little bit. I'm just going to do a distance of 2. I don't want it really separated or blurred out or anything too crazy. Just a subtle little separation, a little shadow separates it from the background. And I'm just going to leave that pretty much like that. And I'm going to mix the font by adding Hoefler text, this one is a more popular text. It's a more default. It's in a lot of computers pre-installed. Just have fun with your fonts. Okay, so here we go. Do you know your card? And then we're gonna type for personality types. And we're actually able to align it. We're able to change the size, do all kinds of different things. One of the things that I do is I will shrink my box, the text box, to fit inside just line to line so that I know it's centered and even in there as well. All right. And let's see, should we do the color white, perhaps? I think we'll do white with, again, let's do a dark gray instead of black. Not quite so harsh, but again, a little bit of that separation. Effects is only available, again, as you're a royal. And I'm just going to make that a 1 degree separation. Move it up a little bit so that it's all the way in there. And I can readjust the box size as well. But that's pretty much the basic gist and the feel that I want to go for here. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'm going to save it as a PNG. And save it to my computer. Save it right in there. And that is my edited photo for some of my marketing purposes. This one's going to go on Instagram. Again, I'll probably be creating a couple different ones since this is more of a workshop extended period thing that I'm really diving in deeper to at lifeaboverubies.com. Again, if you want to come over to Life Above Rubies and join the additional resources, the additional conversation, leave your comments, leave your feedback. If you have any questions at all, Katina and I would be more than happy to answer them and help you find a way to use PicMonkey to better your business, better your life, and help you enjoy the moments all the more in what it is you're after, living life the way you want to live it. So I'm excited to be able to share this with you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me into your home. I hope you'll go ahead and subscribe to be notified of the next video in PicMonkey, and as we come about doing our personality courses as well. As always, you can stay tuned to both Above Rubies Studio and lifeaboverubies.com for business, life, and balance the way you want it. Have an awesome, amazing day, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.